That's it.
So we're going out to harvest some wheat.
Yeah, we're gonna finish her up today.
How many times have you harvested wheat before?
Well, I've been out there in the field for probably 65 years or more. And started helping when I was about 10. Back when we had a tractor and a pull type combine, my brother and I would take turns driving the tractor. And my dad had to ride on the combine and run it. We had an old D John Deere which had a big platform up front on it, and we'd take turns taking a nap on that. One would get tired while the other one my brother would drive a while. It was a dirty job out there then, but we didn't know any different. We just take whatever came. And we didn't have showers like we do now, because we didn't have electricity till I was probably 13. I was about 15 years old. I was in high school. So we'd come in while we'd rinse off at the tank, just splashing water on us and getting the worst of it off before we'd come in. Finish cleaning up. And this tractor we drove had a hand clutch, and it was over here. And my dad would he had a rope tied to that hand clutch, so if one of us fell asleep, he could jerk the clutch from up where he was and stop the tractor. So even though it was hard work, it was fun to be out there and do that. And my mom would do all the cooking and bring food to us at noon, and light lunch at supper time out in the field.
So you always enjoyed it?
Yeah, I always did, yeah.
Did you ever consider doing anything else?
I was going to go to college, but my brother, who was a year older than I was, as soon as he got out of high school, he joined the Navy, and that was during the Korean War. And I felt like somebody needed to stay home and help Dad farm. So I never went to college. I just stayed here, and then after I was out of school about 4 years, Dad decided to quit farming, so turned everything over to me. And I've been farming, actually I farmed all my life, I guess.
And how many acres do you own?
Well, let's see, we own about 2,200 acres, and then we rent a little bit of pasture from one guy, and farm 84 acres for another lady. So, but we've got the modern equipment. I can pretty well handle it by myself, but my grandson, he's big enough to help, and Joyce will drive a truck when we're in wheat harvest in the summertime, and usually have to hire somebody to drive a truck the rest of the time. A little dirt build up here, and when we got the rain, why, I forgot to clean it out.
Do you always carry a pair of pliers on you?
Yeah. Except when I go to church. Our wheat isn't very good this year.
Why?
We've had about 6 years in a row with not very much rain. It's been awful dry, and we have no subsoil moisture buildup. And then on top of that, we've had hot, dry winds that just cooked it. I mean, we're lucky to have what we have here this year. But we've had a little rain here lately, and maybe it'll start raining now, so we raise a little better crops. Our corn looks good right now, but this is probably the poorest wheat crop we've had since back in the 1950s, when it was so dry and the wind blew and the dirt blew.
So what was the old equipment like that you used to use before these machines came around?
The old full-type combine, you had to have somebody riding on the combine to raise and lower the head and make sure everything was working. You had a tractor out front pulling it. The tractor would run outside the wheat out there, and then it would offset. And it was a dirty job. We didn't have cabs then on anything. And our combine then had a 12-foot header on it, which this one is 30 foot. With these modern machines, we can cut over 100 acres a day on a good day. And back then, about 40 acres a day would be a big long day. Plus, we didn't have lights on the machine, so you couldn't run after dark. You can run as long as you can get thrashed out of the head. If it gets damp at night, why you can't get it out of the head, so you quit. So one year we could run until about 3 o'clock in the morning, but then you had to get up the next morning and go again. So I decided 11 o'clock we were going to shut them down every day, so we could get some sleep. You try to run, you can't run 24 hours a day and expect your help to stay with you.
So what's the process after driving the combine through the field? Where do you take the wheat, and then where does it go from there?
Well, we used to have an elevator close to us here. It was only 3 miles to town, but there's no railroad in going through here, so everything had to be trucked out, and they finally quit, and now we have to haul it to Palisades, which is about 18 or 20 miles one way, and so it makes us have to use more trucks, we have a grain cart that holds 500 bushel, and then both of our trucks hold 500 bushel. So in our case, we had to buy another truck.
When you're out here doing this, you listen to the radio, and
yeah, we have a radio, and so that's one thing we never had when I was growing up.
yeah. A lot of time to think out here, huh?
Yeah, you can solve a lot of problems out here. Or you can sing with the radio or by yourself or whatever.
What kind of music do you listen to?
Mostly country, but I like bluegrass, and we get the I like Mozart and things like that too. In fact, I like all kinds of music. On public radio now, we can get music that the local stations don't play. So a lot of times I'll switch over to that and get some Bach or Mozart or that kind of. It's enjoyable to get something different, you know. But I can't play my harmonica because I got both hands busy.
Do you ever get in the combine and drive it?
I don't drive it. I ride in it and talk to him. If it's not busy, you know, if I'm not driving the truck, then I hop in with him because that's air conditioned. The trucks aren't. I drove the combine one time in that field over by the cemetery, and I went backwards. He didn't give me good directions. So that was my first and my last time. You weren't with me when I was telling the guys the first time I drove the truck, not this truck, but an old truck that we had. It was before Dell and I were married, and his dad didn't get out here to help. And he said, we could be harvesting if I had a truck driver. So he drove the truck across that hill going that way. With the full, we unloaded in town because we had the elevator in town. I drove it back empty, and that was my lesson. And I've been driving the truck 3 years since.
You like it?
Oh yeah. I don't like it when it's 105, but otherwise it's fun.
And what were you saying before about Dell? This might be his last harvest.
It won't be the last harvest, but that he's talking about selling the combine because the combine is such an expensive piece of equipment, and that we don't have enough ground to make it pay for itself. That we can hire someone to harvest our wheat and corn, or he might rent the land out and have, just let somebody else plant whatever they want in the fields, and then we would just get the rent from that because it's not paying.
So Dal, what do you think? You gonna invest in some alpacas?
No, I don't have 15,000
No.
to start.
If you did, you think it would be a consideration?
Yeah, it would be. It would be fun. Some work, but
Yeah.
it'd be fun. And Joyce, she likes animals, so I wouldn't have to do it all myself. But
So it seems like you and Joyce make a pretty good team as far as the work on the farm goes.
yeah, I remember one time when she was teaching school, she mentioned that I was hanging up clothes on the line for her that morning, and this one kid, he was appalled. He said, "That's women's work." And Joyce says, "Well," says, "we help each other." Says, "If he needs a truck driver, I drive a truck, or if he whatever, and he helps me and when he can at what she does." So it's, yeah, we get along good that way, and it sure helps both of us. So it's been a good relationship.
How long have you guys been married?
27 years.
What do you think the key is to a successful marriage?
Just I guess be kind to the other person and help when you can. Just mainly be kind and respect each other. So, and that's what we've done. I never really thought about that before. What our relationship is, but that's what it is mainly. Wheat harvest is officially over.
Ta-da-da-da.
How does it feel?
Pretty good.
Yep.
Except I would like to have more wheat, but we'll be thankful for what we got.
So what's the next thing? What comes up next?
Well, we'll sell our calves in October, and then corn harvest will start in late October or 1st November. So that's...
You forgot to plant wheat.
Yeah, I got to plant wheat in September. About the 3rd week in September. So that'll be the next big thing, I guess.
Okay.
And then put up hay this fall. So we'll be busy.
There's always something to do.
Yeah, we can keep busy all the time as far as that goes. But we've got a little downtime right now. Fix fence. We got to do that and irrigate. So we'll be busy.
Is it harder to make a living these days as a farmer?
Well, it's always been tough, but things cost so much more now. The that if you miss a crop, why, you might be in serious trouble. Because fertilizer costs so much, and fuel has about tripled since a couple years ago. And so it's still pretty tough. But they had it tough back in the 40s and 50s, and especially the 30s.
How has Hayes Center changed since you were a young man?
Well, we used to have 3 service stations. Now we have 1. And we used to have 2 grocery stores, where there's just one now. And we used to have a movie theater, but we don't anymore. And just we've lost quite a bit of population. One thing, people don't have as many children as they used to, and a lot of families moved out so they could make a living somewhere else in the bigger towns and cities. So we've lost population, especially you notice it at the schools. When I was a kid, we had a doctor here, but we don't anymore. We haven't had a doctor for 40 years, so we gotta drive to a bigger town, which is closest doctor would be 40 miles away, and of course they have hospitals, but our doctor, we go the other direction, and it's about 50 miles away. So
What do you see as for the future for farming?
there's going to be the smaller farms are going to sell out to a bigger guy, and first thing you know, why they're going to be farming. There's only going to be a few big guys farming in years down the road, I think.
Are you hopeful that your grandson takes over the farm?
Well, it would be nice, but I realize that they have their own interests, and can see that it's tough to make a living this way, and so I don't. If they want to go to college and whatever they want to do is fine. It'd be nice to have one continue the farm, but I'm not going to insist on it at all.
And I know we've been over this information.
My great-great-grandpa homesteaded about a mile west of here and 2 miles north, and they used to have to come down in the bottom here to get their water out of the river and haul back up to home, and they would also get their mail down here in this stone house. And then after 5 years, they proved up on their homestead, and they moved back to Kansas. He was about 70 years old then, but my grandma, she stayed here and married a guy here, so she stayed. She was the only one that stayed here.
And then she homesteaded her own land too, right?
Yeah, she had
and
a dugout west of our house.
Part of where we are.
Can you talk a little bit about when this farm was homesteaded and a little bit about the history?
Yeah, it was my grandmother homesteaded this land, And she had a dugout for a house over across this canyon here. And that was in, I think it was 1892. And the man she married had he homesteaded about 3 miles away, and when they both proved up on their land, which took 5 years, you had to improve it, like put fences in and maybe plant some trees. Anyway, he sold his land and they bought another quarter over here, so they merged together. And so and then my dad bought three quarters here when I was a teenager, and so that was a big step in the farming operation. And Dad worked hard and kept things going and sacrificed a lot to pay that land off, buy that land.
You ever seen a UFO?
No. I've seen a lot of things I haven't been able to identify, but I don't know. I've never seen a UFO.
No crop circles?
No.
So you've been to Chicago a couple of times, right?
Yep.
Could you ever see yourself living in a city like of that size?
No, I don't think I would get along very good.
What is it about Hayes Center and a small town that you like?
Oh, if somebody has trouble, you have friends and just people that barely know you will come in and help. We've had people that maybe they've had a heart attack or something, and there'll be neighbors will come in and do their farming for them for the rest of the summer or whatever. It's just a nice, easy pace. At most things, and I guess that's all I can tell you.
I've noticed that you and Dell work together very well.
When Dell and I have to tag our calves to match them up with the cows, they have the same number as, the babies have the same number as their mommies. And this year, we had some mothers who did not want us to tag their calves. So Dell would have to catch them with a hook, and I would crawl under the pickup, and he would pull them around, and then I would put the tag in their ear, pull them under the pickup, put the tag in their ear. And when my great-granddaughter was with us, she wanted to tag the calf, and I told her this cow was too mean. And when we got through with this whole process and got in the pickup, she had observed it, and she said, "Woo! This ranching business takes a lot of cooperation, doesn't it?" So, and it does.
You guys have been together for a long time. So what do you think is the key to a long marriage?
Probably not taking things too seriously. Some things, that you just have to go with the flow and let things happen and enjoy the moment. And we both enjoy the simple things in life, and we don't worry a whole lot about a big fancy gift or that we have to drive the finest cars or go on big fancy vacations. We just enjoy the simple things.
So what are you going to do for the rest of the day?
I don't know, it looks like it might rain, so we'll just have to play it by ear.
Yeah. Would you rather it rain than be able to be outside and enjoy the weather and relax?
We can always use rain, and so that's rain is relaxing for me. So yeah, we'll take the rain anytime. But they had flood warnings for Hayes County, so they must expect big rain. I don't know. We'll see. A lot of times they'll predict rain and we don't get anything, so we'll wait and see.
Well, it looks like we got some rain down.
Anybody check the rain gauge?
No, you want to do that?
Yeah, I better go do that.
Okay. I don't think it's a whole lot, but
Oh, we only got 10/100. But with the rain before and the 10/100, it makes it look a lot like we got more than that.
So how much did we get?
Just 10/100
10/100 of what?
of rain.
But what
Of an
measurement?
inch.
Of an
10/100
inch.
of an inch.
What would be considered a good amount of rain?
Oh, anything above a ½ inch. So,
When's the last time you had that amount?
well, we had about a week ago. We had 60/100. So, and then we had 1.10 inch. So we're doing pretty good for rain right now.
Okay.
So, shall we go get some breakfast?
I think we should.
Yeah. How's that?